Hello kids, I know that the exams are done. We have given our 100%. Some of us were able to crack the exams, get into interviews. Some of us are still waiting for entrances in the likes of TACME, Symbiosis and other places. And then some of us are still thinking about, okay, what should I do? Should I take a drop year? Should I not take a drop year? Should I just get into some BBA and see if I can crack CAT? Before you take the decision, there's one last exam that I encourage all of you to give, and that is the IIM Bangalore's Digital Business and Entrepreneurship program. The reason why I'm talking about this is if at all you decide to study locally in a university or a college, then you need a program or a course that takes you across the country, peer network from across the country, a degree which comes from the likes of IIM Bangalore. You may not be working and living and studying in IIM Bangalore, but you definitely get the kind of infrastructure and network from IIM Bangalore. And this is an exquisite program, according to me. So let's see what exactly the program is, right? First, what is the program? Like I said, it's a digital business and entrepreneurship program. It's a 3-year program. And if you have seen the likes of Masters Union, you might have seen the fancy build your venture and things like that. The IIM Bangalore program is also very similar. So the first thing you need to understand is the application process is live. You can apply with your grade 10 marks. If you don't have, of course, all of your grade 12 results are open, so you can apply. What is the program? Why should you take this program? One, it is a completely online program. And an online program gives you the flexibility. You can study at your own pace. This is a program that gives you 2 options. You can finish it off in 3 years, get a degree, or you can finish it off in 4 to 5 years and then get the degree. Whichever way it is, but it gives you flexibility. Study from your home. As simple as that. And the curriculum is also very fancy. We'll look into it, but before that, let's go. What I also like about this program is that this project-based learning. From what I have heard about the program, assignments are a very key component of this program. So you got to do things by yourself. It brings the IIM rigor to your life while you sit at your home. So that is an interesting point. And then of course the networking opportunities. At a point in this journey, IIM Bangalore also gives you an opportunity, not to every student who is enrolled here, but to students who are possibly selected, an opportunity to get to interact with the NSR cell. The NSR cell is among the leading incubators, institutional incubators or educational institution incubators, and it is incubating top-notch startups from across the country. So that is a place where you can actually network, probably get some internships and build your profile as you prepare for CAT later. So what exactly is the structure? How does it look like? What is the journey like? Now this is where things get interesting. You go to the certificate program, you clear the first year's examination, you get a certificate. You clear the second year, you get a diploma. You clear the third year, then you get a degree. And the degree is from IIM Bangalore and it is a valid degree. Do not have questions about whether it is valid or not. You can use that degree to apply for any university for your masters. It is indeed a valid degree. So you can do any of these after the degree. So 1, 2, 3, certificate, diploma and degree. These are the 3 things that will happen. Now, what do the academics look like? What is the course structure, right? Every year has 3 terms and number of courses around 6 to 8 courses per term, and it is going to be heavy. It's not going to be easy, right? What is the course structure like? That is where it is very interesting. See, the digital business and entrepreneurship program emphasizes on the very same, right? What is it that you will do? Look at these. This is what every BBA has. Marketing, entrepreneurship, financial statements, business communication, business statistics, microeconomics, design thinking, business communication. Now, what is interesting and what you will not find in regular colleges locally is the likes of website development, IKS, Indian Knowledge Systems. You look at this, very interesting, very interesting. Venturing on a budget, rupees 250 venture. So that's something that you will be pushed to go out. You sell muri mixture or you sell a pen, it doesn't matter, but then it is pushing you out of your comfort zone. These are the things that are most important. Spreadsheets, for example. Of course, the IIM Bangalore spreadsheet program is not going to be just, hey, where is the data button, where is the format button? It's going to definitely go beyond that when it is working parallelly with statistics. And of course, you have the likes of entrepreneurial mindset and peripheral programs like sustainability and environment. But what gets more interesting is the second year. In the second year, you work on advanced statistics, and that I believe is important because you cannot let go of mathematics as a subject, right? Especially in the times of data science and data analytics. And that is an interesting course. But beyond that, look at this, hypothesis testing. Again, trust me, I have studied locally. I know the quality of faculty locally, and you will not get to hear about these if you study just here, all right? I think this is important. And then you have a very, very interesting, subject called the Do Your Venture 1, which carries forward into the next year. You can do your venture over a span of 2 terms or 2 years rather. See, maybe they're pushing you to build something. So I believe this year is very, very interesting. And in the last year, what you also do is you work on, look at this, big data analytics, critical thinking, corporate finance, UI UX design. That is also something that is not going to be taught to you locally. And of course, the perspectives on humanities, that is, you have ethics, and I think there were certain here, critical thinking, languages. These again are not something that you will find locally, right? So this is one of the reasons why I am particularly excited about this program. Imagine you're doing this program, and how you do this program, we'll go to the life at a later point. But before going there, imagine you're doing this program, 1.5 years into this program, you start building something of your own. And if it succeeds, maybe you can get into your business, run it for a couple of years. If it does not succeed, you can get started with your preparation for CAT. And by the end of 3 years, you will give your CAT. And imagine the kind of profile you must have built for the CAT interviews. That is the reason why I am saying this is something that is going to be interesting. Clear? Now, I want you to go through this. If you need to apply, what is it that you need to have? You basically need to have mathematics as a compulsory subject. So if you do not have mathematics in your grade 12, then you are not eligible for this. And you need to have a 60%. If you come from SC, ST, or if you have a disability quota reservation or something like that, you can work with about 55% marks or equivalent. But this is minimum, and mathematics is necessary. How do you get into the program? You have to give the IIM Bangalore entrance test, or you can use your CUET scores. Of course, most of us have not given JEE mains, but I think you have to apply for the IIM Bangalore entrance test. That is the best way to get a seat for yourself. What is the application process? You apply, you fill the application, you upload the documents, you pay the fee, and then you give the exam. Then you get the admission or not. Now, what is the fee? Some of you will look at this and think, oh, this is expensive. But I think it is not as expensive as it looks like. Imagine you're studying in a local university. I'll not take the names. But a university locally charges around 1.2 with almost a 40 to 50% scholarship. Imagine you don't have a scholarship. You given their entrance test and they give you a 20-30% scholarship, you are still paying 1.4, 1.5 lakh per annum. I'm talking about a university. This year is giving you a lot better opportunity, and it is at par with the same cost. One other bright opportunity that you can take advantage of is get yourself enlisted in a local, small college, and probably they'll have a fee of 25,000-30,000. All you have to do is go to the college, listen to certain classes, maybe even bargain with them for the attendance, or maybe get a distance program or whatever it is, and then make this your priority. That is a better way, because your peer quality in the local colleges is not going to be fantabulous. Here you get peers from across the country, and that is what is going to be the differentiator. So 1.25 in the first year, 1.5 in the second year, 1.75 in the third year. I think this is affordable. This is as affordable as it gets. And if you specifically are from an SC/ST background or somebody with a disability, you have 50% waiver. That becomes all the more affordable if you come from those categories. So make sure that you are thinking about this, all right? What are the dates? When do you have to apply? Your application window ends on 30th June, so make sure that you apply before 30th June. 26th July is when the entrance test is going to be, and later, so first or second week of August is when the result comes, and everything else starts after that. So imagine you have all the wait time till August, September. So you will anyway get enrolled locally, but August, September is when the classes will start. That's how it's going to look like. Having said all of this, what does the life look like? Why is it that I'm so gaga about it? Yep. Now this is what I am thinking about, right? There is something called learning pods, and there are something called active wings. Now forget about this, I'm not interested in this, but these are learning pods. Now, what are these learning pods? What you will see is these. So you work as teams of, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, I'm not sure what the size is. But you have accountability and group learning that is possible. And then you have zonal groups. Now, for example, a zone could be Andhra and Telangana, a zone could be just one singular state. So if that is the case, you have 100 other people from that state working with you, and you can meet them. And then on top of that, you have student-led cells. So committees and other things. This is something that you want to do when you go to an IIM. And this is what you're doing here as well. You have cells. A case in point is the magazine. Trust me, making a magazine is not easy. I've been in the magazine committee when I was doing my master's, and it took a lot of time, effort, and thought. Right? Here is an example of what a committee could do. Right? Look at the things that have been written, and I'm pretty sure it's the students who have contributed to this. You could invite other people. Trying to do something like this is going to give you skills that no other place is going to give you. Right? That again is what excites me as a person. If I were in your place, I would have definitely applied for this. I didn't have this opportunity back when I was studying, right? So what is the exam going to look like? Kids, you have all prepared for the IPMAT exam. I don't think it's going to be any difficult than that. The exam is going to be similar. From what I gather, it's about a 90 minutes exam, all the 3 sections. So I don't think you should put in extreme efforts to prepare for this, but just revise your basic aptitude, the quantitative aptitude, LRDI, and verbal ability, and then you give the exam. And it's very likely that you get selected, because this is not a under 1% or under 5% selection rate. It's probably got around 10% application acceptance. So it's not going to be very difficult for you, right? So for these reasons, I think you should definitely apply for the IIM Bangalore's BBA in Digital Business and Entrepreneurship program. And on top of all of this, the chairperson, if I'm not wrong, is a Professor Suresh Bhagavatula. I'm not sure if he's still the chair, but he is from Visakhapatnam, and he is a professor at IIM Bangalore, of course. And I've had a chance to interact with him earlier, and I think I trusted him when he said that it was a good program, right? So if you think you want to look up this program, probably go onto Reddit, go onto WhatsApp groups, communities, whatever, and see if you can find someone that you would like to speak. In the meantime, I'll also figure out a couple of students that I spoke to earlier and see if I can get them to talk to you, okay? So if you like this program, I think you should definitely apply for it. Get into a not so costly university institute for your BBA program for the next 3 years. As you build your profile through the program, in the second year you start preparing for CAT, and in the third year you give CAT, and after the third year you get into the top 5, top 6 IIMs. And this should exactly be what your life looks like for the next 3 years. Okay? So all the very best. If you have any queries, you can hit the Thinkplus office and they will help you out with this. I'll catch you again. Happy learning, happy journey in this process. Bye-bye.